From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In this recording, we have a lot of breaking news as Joe Manchin says he's ready to do the Build Back Better Act at the latest new comments overnight across the land. Then we look at the breaking details as the President of the United States unveils a new body of legislation to tax billionaires that could tee up the money for SS300. Wow, we'll have the latest details on that breaking news as well. We'll be looking at those big four stimulus checks that have paid out. $15,000 to $80,000 of checks that viewers have gotten. Have you gotten them? Become a member, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to get those $15,000 to $80,000 checks from forced stimulus. Then we'll be looking at the breaking developing details as third stimulus continues to pay out checks. Lots of them, 12 months of them, on average $2,000. Yes, it's MSC. We'll be looking at the latest comments from Jay Powell and why those interest rates continue to go up, but inflation may not go down. All the latest details on that and why a recession is not among our only concerns today. We have other concerns, and those other concerns could be stagflation. Yes, all the latest details on that front as well. And what's teeing up the next package thereafter? The next package is 6 stimulus. It's Putin-caused stimulus, and it heats up in April. This is for wheat, grain, oil, and also potential meltdown of U.S. banks if their exposure to Russian debt is very prolific. All the latest details in today's recording. Then we have the incredible details of that student loan debt forgiveness. Yes, student loan debt forgiveness heating up across the land. And then mortgages are surging dramatically, and this could be the reason that Build Back Better Act is passed. 7 stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness, 6 stimulus because of China, Putin, and all those elements at hand. This stimulus getting a new lift from Joe Biden today, and that new lift is the new wealth tax. 4th stimulus paying out those big checks, $15,000 to $80,000, and 3rd stimulus still paying out big checks more than ever before. $2,000 a month for upwards of $1,000, upwards of 12 months. It's a big recording with a lot of stimulus and a lot of moolah. But the bacon's still missing. Oh, boy, we were almost so good. First bacon package, second bacon package. I can only hope. I can only hope. But needless to say, I got your checks. I don't have your bacon. And you don't have my bacon either. It's sort of a running thing here, isn't it? No, just no bacon. A lot of stimulus and no bacon from the shores of Santa Monica, California. The toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. And we have a lot of breaking news today. I'm excited you're here and I have a preview of tonight's Evenings LA in prime time. Boy, it's a big show. It's Mornings. And it starts live right now. Good morning, everybody. The toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing, but the bacon's just only digital. It's only a digital broadcast for bacon this morning. In this recording, we have a lot of money at issue. First stimulus, second stimulus. My goodness. Let's go over what's happening in today's breaking news. Number 1, Joe Manchin addresses in a new bruncheon. Yeah, he ate as well. Didn't have bacon. That he's ready to do the Build Back Better Act. It's breaking news. All the latest details on that front today. And that Build Back Better Act is getting a new push. Why? Because the mortgage industry is about to implode the housing industry. Boy, and the Democrats are using this as a way to get Build Back Better Act passed. All the latest details in that front. Then, as concerns grow about stagflation, also the question is, what about that variant of Omicron coming from China? New indications today suggest that it may be the dominant strain in the United States, and this is big for your CR. The president's coming back with another CR in just a few days for COVID. Then, third stimulus. Yes, third stimulus really heating up, and those monthly IRS stimulus, those monthly stimulus checks landing, all the latest details of that. Fourth stimulus heating up as well. Big checks, $15,000 to $80,000 viewers have gotten, and I'll show you how to get them as well in today's recording. Fifth stimulus for seniors and people on disabilities. Guess what? As the concern about stagflation grows, guess I have something new today. Breaking news as the White House is set to unveil one of the pieces of legislation that Liz Warren had asked during the campaign trail and since then to fund SS300. Oh my goodness, all of that breaking news coming up in the later this video. I told you there's a lot of brand new stuff that happened overnight. Then we'll be looking at that 6th stimulus package coming in April. This is the recessionary concerned package, the package caused by Putin between Germany, France, and the United States. And then we have that student loan debt forgiveness heating up the big item at issue, which is the 7 stimulus packages. Excited you're here. And so let's go over all the big, incredible sums of money you need to know. It's a big broadcast, and from the shores of Santa Monica, let's get to it with all the big money at issue. Let's get to it right now. It's a huge roar. Hope everything is good with you are, and let's make sure the stream is fine where we are as well. When we're looking at the situation right now, let me jump into the live chat and make sure the stream is good. Are we still fine? We are fine. Is the connection good? It looks good from my side. It is good. We had a little bit of a break up there for a second. So let's go over the big details at hand, which is the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act, 3 classes of checks and 3 add-ons. I'm going to go first over those checks, and then I'm going to go over the breaking news from Joe Manchin and the breaking news from the White House about those mortgage rates. I guess the connection is good. Say bacon if you're in the live chat, so I make sure everything is good. It's an excuse to see lots of bacon. So if the connection is good, write bacon in the live chat right now. The Build Back Better Act has 3 classes of checks that amount to $15,000 to $80,000. In prime time's most watched financial news show tonight, Evenings LA, I'm going to go over these checks in detail, but let's take a preview of them right now. In that first cluster, hazard pay and that big money for the earned income tax credit. CTC, 1 more year of that. $3,600 for the young children. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, $550 check for the Pell Grant. Money to repair your home if you live in a low-income community. $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Wow. In that first add-on, it checks a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Toshara says bacon, Mildred says bacon, and Dragon says bacon. And there's Ann says bacon, and Jose has lots of bacon for me. So I guess we're good. Maxine Waters got $25,000 of free bacon as the first add-on. No, $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. In that first add-on of the Build Back Better checks. Let's go to that second add-on. Let's go to that second cluster checks, home repairs and paid leave. Huge money. How do you get this money? Tune into Evenings LA in prime time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'll be watching for you in that live chat tonight. Paid leave is a lot of money. It is $4,000 to $6,000 a year if you have to stay home from work due to sickness or illness. And home repairs, lots of money. And why is that home repairs important? Because I'm going to get to that in a second because of the mortgage industry. This is to weatherize your home. The second add-on of checks from Bob Casey, just a little bit less than $250 billion for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Then when we turn to that third cluster checks, wow. In that third cluster checks, we have free internet for all checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and then seniors getting lots of checks. Those checks for those seniors involve hearing, vision, dental, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, the Medicaid gap fix, and also the big issue at hand, lots of those checks. When we're looking at the senators, they vow to add those checks to there, and they add the checks they vow to add in there, of course, are those MSC checks, monthly IRS stimulus checks. These are checks from the Build Back Better Act that would pay out on a monthly basis from IRS. So says the senators across the board. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, double it. You get as well. Family 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or adult dependent, you get as well. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. These are the MSC checks. Later in this recording, we're going to go over those third stimulus, multiple stimulus checks that have gone out now. I'm going to show you how to get them. But let's go over the breaking news where we are right now on that Build Back Better Act. A lot of breaking news overnight. So Build Back Better Act, currently in the Senate, not law. It's a bill with a proposed monthly stimulus check in there. But out of nowhere came Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, new comments overnight. Joe Manchin says he wants to do the Build Back Better Act. Great news. Now, do I put much weight in whatever Joe Manchin says? Well, I'm excited about his mindset. He says he wants to get it done. What he wants to put in there, I'm not putting much weight in it because he doesn't determine what goes in there. He's just one senator. So he appeared before the American Clean Power Association. It's a trades association that concerns climate. And guess what he said? I'm ready to do Build Back Better Act, and I think it needs climate in there. Well, of course he's going to say that. They're giving him the free launch. So, of course, he's going to say that. So during that conference, I like his comments that he says he wants to do it, and he's ready to negotiate. Then the follow-up comments from his communications director, Sam Runyon, always running from, from Jalapa, from the Progressives. So Senator Manchin is always willing to negotiate and getting things going forward. He remains concerned about financial status of our country and believes fighting inflation and restoring fairness to our tax system, paying down national debt for his priority. Great comments. So do I put much weight in the details? No, because Joe Manchin doesn't determine what goes in the Build Back Better. He said it needs climate, it needs deficit reduction, and prescription medication. Yeah, it also needs more than that. But the mindset is great. That's number one. That's the first element of breaking news. The second element of breaking news is that the housing industry has really taken a major hit. And now the progressives and the Democrats are calling for the passage of the Build Back Better Act based upon this new economic data. The new economic data is very disconcerting, is very troubling. What's at issue? And just less than a few days ago, we had the new housing reports that came in, and the housing reports fell flat. They fell down. They were down 4.1% for the month of February compared to January. This is the fourth consecutive month of declining housing sales, and it's banked on the problem about the mortgage industry. The mortgage industry is seeing a 30-year fixed mortgage jump 24 basis points to 5%, meaning if you can't afford a house, you ain't going to buy it. And guess what? That's the situation right now. Notice when we're looking at a Build Back Better Act that a lot of the checks in there were about housing. Maxine Waters, the home repairs. Yeah. So this is what they're using to pass a Build Back Better Act. Very excited. We'll be tracking this all this week long. Incredible details. Also tracking is Joe Biden's push for that CR redo. The continuing resolution passed a few days ago. It did not have money in there for COVID, and the President of the United States is coming back from Europe to get money in there for COVID. Why? Because out of China is coming that subvariant to Omicron that is likely to be the dominant strain in the United States, and Joe Biden has no money for COVID in there. So we're going to watch when the White House debuts that new CR piece of legislation. The last one passed with county stimulus in there. Go get it across the land. But the president coming back with a push for another version. We'll see if there is a $2,000 check in there as well. Now, the president will be debuting this week, and it was announced minutes ago, and I have the breaking news for you, a new piece of legislation. This is breaking news live on air on Mornings LALATE. This is why you tune in. The president is unveiling in less than 24 hours a new piece of legislation called the Billionaire's Minimum Income Tax Law. Wow, does that sound familiar? It should. It sounds exactly like Liz Warren's wealth tax. Remember that? Remember from the campaign trail? Remember after the campaign trail? Remember from the YouTube video I used to show you where she said we need a wealth tax. And that wealth tax, as said during the campaign trail, is to pay for fifth stimulus. Yes. Liz Warren on the campaign trail proposed a tax of billionaires to pay for fifth stimulus, removing the asset cap, the income cap, the marriage penalty, and similar. So Joe Biden coming out of nowhere with this piece of legislation. Now, he's proposing this legislation that would tax 20% minimum tax rate on people whose net worth is more than $100 million. And this minimum tax would make sure that the wealthiest Americans no longer have to pay a lower tax rate than teachers and firefighters. This is to reduce the national debt, and it's part of the president's 2023 national budget to be unveiled this week to reduce the national debt by $1.3 trillion. So will he use some of this for fifth stimulus? We'll watch. This is fascinating. Fascinating, because Liz Warren, this is her baby, and he's unveiling her baby, but to use it to run down the national debt. We use a little bit for fifth stimulus. We will see. Very, very exciting news. And it comes after we often thought that wealth tax wasn't happening. Wow. What is happening is that for stimulus, $15,000 to $80,000 checks have gone out and have landed in people's hands, and members have gotten it. Have you gotten it? Have you become a member? Become a member. The link is at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. Members have delivered that membership newsletter Monday through Friday that details this across the land. Let's take a step back. 4 weeks ago on a Friday, the President of the United States announced that he has done a law, and that law is an add-on to the fourth stimulus Build Back Better Act, the congressional legislation bill that is not law. Yes, Congress can do laws, but the president can do laws as well. Congress's fourth stimulus is not law yet, but the president's, his fourth stimulus is law. He did it by executive branch. He did 4 Fridays ago. As soon as he announced it, I immediately announced to the viewership of this channel. What is it? It's fourth stimulus, it's law, and it's $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. Wow. Have you got it? You need to become a member. First, what is it? For purposes of this video, it's called the Homeowners Grant, number 1. Number 2, how much does it pay? A lot. $15,000 to $80,000. The viewers have gotten it. One viewer got $66,000, mark. Other viewers have gotten approved, saying it's funding. And here's what's at issue. You want to become a member. Let's go over the details right now. The income qualification is $75,000 or less, a single individual. You can get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you can get it. Unlike a stimulus check where it has a double and a triple it. Remember, household 4, you quadruple it. You don't quadruple this. It's per household, $15,000 to $80,000. But boy, folks, that is a lot of money. And then if you're on benefits, you can get it as well. Veterans, yes. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, wearable benefits. It's a homeowner's grant, so the last eligibility element is that you have to own a home. If you're a renter, stay with me because I got huge MSC checks in just a second. So if you're a homeowner, what do? You open that membership newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. And that YouTube alert system is absolutely incredible. It delivers this membership newsletter. You open it up. First, it has the full name of the program. It's longer than the Homeowners Grant, a longer name. Then it goes over the income qualification we just saw. Then it goes over what it pays for, like home repairs and other monies. What are they? Open that newsletter. Then it features the other things you need to know, and more, finally, the biggest thing, the application. It gives you the link to go right in and online apply, sending you to the national website, and then you click your state, and you're ready to pounce. And that's what viewers have done. Announced by the White House 4 Fridays ago, it was not covered anywhere. Nowhere. This is why this channel is number 1 for financial news in prime time. I immediately featured the newsletter that night, and I said, pounce. Get it now. Don't wait. First come, first serve. Pounce, Purple Hawks, because it's not going to be available indefinitely. And what's important to understand is you can't wait as well. So open that membership newsletter, get that link, click it, and go right in and apply. Ultimately, states will run out of the money. It's first come, first serve. So get it right today. Now, let's go to that third stimulus. Very exciting. Third stimulus became law last year. Got you a $1,400 stimulus check. But did you know that viewers have gone back now and gotten, yes, extra checks, MSC of checks, 12 of them on average, averaging $2,000. And who? You, if you're a renter. You, if you're a homeowner. You, if you're on benefits. You can get it. Let's go over all the incredible details across the board. This is rent, utilities, mortgages, and more. And the great news is that it's an extenuation of what we've always covered on this channel. It's an addition to everything else. It does not replace something else coming up in the future, like a fourth stimulus IRS check. It does not replace the third stimulus check you got, $1,400. It's an addition to that. And where do you do it? You get that membership newsletter. In the membership newsletter, I feature the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage, utility assistance because of COVID. You get those multiple applications on file, and you'll have a 50% rejection rate, but you'll also have a 50% approval rate on average for the viewer's channel. The average viewer has gotten $45,000 pounds to get these big sums of money. And here's the new success story. Overnight. A viewer who has a screen name that's a little bit too provocative. It's just a little too provocative. It sounds like someone who doesn't have their clothes on. So I'm not going to read the screen name. The initials of the screen name are JDM. You figure out what that might be. If you're in live chat, so long as you keep it clean, you print what you think those JDM stood for. This is today's double jeopardy question. JDM says, I am getting, thanks to your recordings, $20,000 of these MSE checks. And I did it, and congratulations. Incredible news. This is from March 27th. JDM. You figured out what JDM stands for. Yesterday, on March 25th, in the Evenings LALATE broadcast, boy, you should have watched that show in prime time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We had 3 viewers in 3 minutes collectively get $100,000. And the first one got the most, and guess what? He's on benefits. He's on SSI and SSTI. Thank you. I got $60,000, all in caps. Thank you, LA, for your help. You're a godsend. That was Daniel. Corey in the same live chat, $14,000. Then, minutes later, William J. getting $10,000. Incredible. Corey getting 14 months, Jay getting 8 months, and Daniel, I don't know. It was a lot of months. It was 10 plus months. So where do you get it? Open that membership newsletter and go down and get those 6 places applied to. And then lean on the nonprofits. The nonprofits also feature the membership newsletter. At least 5 of them. You want to get those applications in there to get those big sums of money. This is a third stimulus MSE check in addition to all that. Wow. In the second half, that is a long verse out. In the second half, we have a lot coming up, folks, and we're just getting started. We have the breaking news at student loan debt forgiveness. We have the breaking news about that big money for SS300 that could get a major lift with this new piece of legislation. We have the latest details on 6 stimulus and what the president did in the last 48 hours. He confirmed all my reporting. He confirmed my reporting about wheat, oil, and also China. It's huge. It's coming up in the second half of this video. And they'll have a preview of this week. There's a lot going on this week and a lot of pieces of legislation, all that are paying you at the same time across the board. We'll go over all that big money and what you need to know, and then we'll have a preview of tonight's Evenings LA in prime time. Boy, it's just getting started. But first, there's a little bit about the members community page. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Mornings LA live on air continues from Santa Monica this morning.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues in a special live broadcast in Mornings LA with a lot of things happening in the second half. We'll be going over that student loan debt forgiveness heating up. It's 7 stimulus, May 2nd. Big debt could be forgiven upwards of $50,000. I'll have the latest details on that. Then 6 stimulus heating up in April. That recessionary concern and why they need to get it done. We'll have the latest details on that 6 stimulus package, the biggest stimulus package of a generation to deal with you, wheat, grain, the banking industry, and everything you need to know to keep us out of recession. This is Putin-caused stimulus. Then we'll be looking back at this stimulus, which out of nowhere got a new lift from the White House. And that new lift is, of course, the big developing details of that new piece of legislation being introduced by the White House overnight. Wow. And then, of course, we'll be looking back at that Build Back Better Act. But let's start first with the Build Back Better Act. The Democrats are using the mortgage industry, the housing industry, as the new reason to get the Build Back Better Act passed. Fascinating. This is a concern that stagflation is really hitting that industry badly. Housing starts slumping. mortgage rates going up. And with all those issues, there's a lot of reason to get the Build Back Better Act passed more than ever before, as Joe Manchin says he wants to get it passed. In a second, we're going to go over these big checks at issue, but let's turn to 7 stimulus for just a blink of an eye. 7 stimulus is going to that May 2nd deadline. Wow. The President of the United States has been approached by the Democrats since when he won the highest office in the land to forgive $50,000 of student loan debt. He said, no, I'll do 5. Well, the latest breaking details is that his chief of staff, Ron Klain, says the president has a new deadline of May 2nd. Why? Because student loan debt has been on moratorium, frozen. You've not had to repay it during the pandemic. That date will end on May 2nd, meaning that starting May 2nd, you'll have to start paying back your debt unless 2 things happen. 1, the president extends the moratorium on repaying student loan debt on May 2nd, or he forgives it. What's the breaking news today? Well, a lot of breaking news. Number 1, the Education Secretary under Obama says that Biden has the ability to forgive student loan debt. He absolutely can forgive it, and that he should forgive it. Here's my part of the analysis across the land, is that Joe Biden has it sort of easy at the moment. Why? He has a lot of support among Democrats. There's virtually no Democrat against the forgiveness of student loan debt. That's number 1. Number 2, the date is there. He has to decide something by that date, says his chief of staff, and that the president will make that determination. Number 3, whatever the president does, if he forgives 10,000, if he forgives 50,000, it's going to be impossible for Republicans to undo it. Why? Because analysts have done the reports, and they say the Republicans have to tee it up for a bill. They won't have enough votes, and it'll stand. Whatever Joe Biden does will be the law of the land. Really exciting across the board. So I think that 7th stimulus may happen. He may roll it over an extra few days, but this is really exciting. Also really exciting is what Liz Warren proposed on that campaign trail, which was a wealth tax. You saw the video on this channel. I used to play it all the time, where Liz Warren said, do a wealth tax and use that money to fund SS reform. SS reform involving SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits, getting reform, which involves removing the income cap, removing the marriage penalty, removing the asset cap, and other things. Well, Joe Biden is introducing that new piece of legislation this week. We use some of it for that. It's a way to raise funds for the federal government, $1.3 trillion of funds, but to use it to reduce the national deficit. It's called the Billionaires Minimum Income Tax Law, and he's debuting it this week. I have the preview it on this recording right now. So we use some of it for SS300. We will see. Very, very fascinating across the board. Now, let's look at the situation unfolding across the land with that 6 stimulus package. If you're new to this channel, stimulus packages overlap. 3rd stimulus checks, which we've just gone over, those monthly checks that you can get right now are paying out $2,000 a month for 12 months is average across the land. 4th stimulus, $15,000 to $80,000 checks have been paid out right now as well, overlapping across the land. And then 6th stimulus would come in April, 7th stimulus would come in May, and 5th stimulus, wow. We don't know. Maybe it could be sooner than we really thought. Very exciting details today. Let's go back to those $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. It's the 4th stimulus add-on. 4th stimulus is not it has 2 parts. It has the bill part, which is in Congress, not law, and has the part that the president became law when he did it during the executive branch 4 Fridays ago. It's paying out $15,000 to $80,000. If you're a homeowner, go get it. How do you get it? Become a member. The link's at the top of the chat. And if you're watching the show on March 27th, 2022, you heard the surprise I revealed yesterday, which is that at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, March 27th, Sunday, I would deliver for one time only a special weekend edition of the newsletter. The newsletter comes out generally Monday through Friday, but for one time only, March 27th, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, there'll be an extra newsletter. So if you become a member while watching this video during today's broadcast, then get that membership signed up and you'll get the newsletter tonight if you sign up before 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Huge details across the board. Let's look at that 6th stimulus. Wow. This is caused by Putin. First stimulus was for COVID. Second stimulus was to be for COVID. Third stimulus was coming out of COVID. Fourth stimulus is coming out of COVID. Fifth stimulus is for seniors. Seventh stimulus is for student loan debt forgiveness. But sixth stimulus is for Putin. It's Putin-caused stimulus. Why? The analysis is very simple. If you're in the live chat right now, write how much you're paying for gas and write how much you're paying for a loaf of bread. If you're paying the national averages, you can't sustain it through the month of May. I said day one of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. You can't sustain these prices of gasoline through the month of May, or we go into recession. You can't sustain $7 a loaf of bread through the month of May, or we go into recession. And if we fix everything domestically, then if our partners have the problem and they go into recession, they draw us in. So what is sixth stimulus about? It's about the following. The approach the White House did week one of the invasion was, partner allies, Germany, France, you have to get off of these Russian products. Their responses were no, we're too dependent on it. Then they said, you morally must do. And they said, okay, we'll do it. The way we'll do it is a trifecta. The progressives of Germany, its chancellor, France, its President Macron, and U.S., Joe Biden, to do debt spending, to raise national debts, and then give stimulus to citizens, because guess what? Gasoline is likely to stay high, and you can't afford gasoline, we'll go to recession. Wheat is likely to stay high, or you can't afford it, we go to recession. And the banking industry has problems, and China has issues. What's great news? The great news is that everything I've been reporting about sixth stimulus for no less than a month of this Russia-Ukraine war was confirmed by the White House overnight. Let's go over the details. Number one, the wheat got a major announcement from the White House. The wheat situation was addressed for the White House. And this is huge, folks. For a month, I said this is the number one issues of the Vladimir Putin invasion. Wheat could send us in recession. Why? You can't afford $7 a loaf of bread. If you're in the live chat right now, post how much you're paying for bread. Post how much you're paying for bread. You can't sustain it. And at issue is that the federal government needs to give money to sustain the situation. So first, the federal government addressed the situation when overseas, saying that we need to give more money and we need to address the situation. First, they understood that our partner allies like Egypt and France have a big dependency on wheat, and that dependency is about 80%. So what are they doing? They're dedicating some of our wheat to go overseas. Good. But the White House needs to do a little bit more than that, because the case of wheat is a little bit problematic. And the issue is, number one, we have farmers struggling. Why are they struggling? While their revenue is higher, their costs are astronomically higher as well. A farmer in the United States is going to sell the wheat, is getting more money because there's a shortage of wheat. They're getting more sales of it. They can charge more money to you. But it's costing them a lot more to make it, harvest it. Why? Their trucks run on oil, gasoline. More costs. Then their fertilizer comes from Vladimir Putin, going up dramatically. So with those big issues, the issue at hand is the White House needs to address that a little bit more robustly. At issue is also then the next part of the equation, which is oil. The White House has not addressed the situation for oil as robustly as it can, but let's go over the details. What is good news today? The President of the United States understood that it needs to get our partner allies off of oil, Russian oil. And the first one was LNG, which is natural gas. The White House getting a major deal in the last 24 hours. Getting our partner allies, the whole European community, the EU, off of Russian LNG and getting onto, yes, U.S. LNG. Biden anchored a deal that will provide U.S.-made LNG to our partner allies through 2030. It's huge. So it's going to help U.S. businesses, help U.S. workers, help U.S. labor, help U.S. economy. They're going to buy our LNG for nearly 10 years. It's a great deal. That's number one. Number two, the White House has a deal with Iran to reduce dependency on Russian oil, our oil at the pump. $1.5 trillion, 1.5 million barrels of gasoline will float into the U.S. economy and world economies by December, starting at 500,000 and less than 30 days from now. So what's the reaction of it? So far, the oil traders are a little bit skittish because they don't see the deal signed yet. The Brent crude price, the price of Brent crude, which is the international price of gasoline, is at 122 right at the time of this recording. It was 127 just about 48 hours ago. These are horrible numbers. These are the highest numbers we've seen in the history of this channel. The price of gasoline at the pump is staying about stable, but it's unsustainable. It's $4.24. That's an unsustainable number. So it is very, very confusing what the reaction is. Basically, I believe that the analysts think that the deal's not done yet, and they're a little bit worried on the oil front. On the wheat front, the commodities, if you remember this channel, I hope you are, the link is at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. You get the wheat and the corn also along with the oil prices in the newsletter Monday through Friday. Wheat prices are tracking at 10-year highs. It's $1,002. The May 2020 contract for wheat. This is huge. It's grown just dramatically in the last 10 days. It's up $16 today. The price of corn is up $5 on a $754 contract, the May 22nd contract. So this is just huge. If you're in the live chat, write how much you're paying for wheat. Not paying for wheat, for a loaf of bread. Write how much you're paying for a loaf of bread. These numbers are unsustainable. The next part of the equation was also confirmed by the White House. Who? Yeah, Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen confirming my reporting, which is the third part of the six stimulus, is China. Is China going to give money to Vladimir Putin? We don't know yet. China and Russia confirms that Russia has asked for money from China to undo our sanctions. China has not given that money yet. White House has told China not to do it. And Vladimir Putin has not responded to whether he's going to push for more of that money. But Janet Yellen addressed the situation. She said, in the last 24 hours, we're watching it. We don't have to sanction China just yet because it hasn't given any money to Russia. But we are hoping that China doesn't give the money. Translation? If China gives a penny to Russia, we sanction China. If we sanction China, they go into recession, we go into recession. We're too dependent upon China across the board. Very, very troubling. Last up, of course, is the banking industry. Our U.S. banks have major investments in Russian debt, and we don't know how big it is. That Russian debt is about to become valueless and credit-worthiness, and that line item in that 2022 Q3 or Q4 report for corporate banks is about to give a major loss. That loss is line item investment in Russian debt or Russian equities. You can't go to your local bank and see it's closed because it did business with a U.S. bank that had a major loss in Russia. It's a very troubling issue, and this is the sixth reason, the fourth reason for the six stimulus package. Huge details across the board. Here's what you need to know, is that there's a lot happening tonight in prime time, and I don't want you to miss it. But next up is a live broadcast of noontime. It's 11 a.m., and I'm back live with you. Here's what to take away. Third stimulus. You may have got to the third stimulus check, but go get those MSE checks. Third stimulus for renters and homeowners. They're available. I'll feature them more tonight in primetime on Evenings LA. Become a member and get the incredible information about the 11 plus places to reach out to, the 6 and then those 5 plus nonprofits. Next, if you're a homeowner, get that membership link as well. Become a member as well to get that $50,000 to $80,000 of 4 stimulus checks that have now been set as law and viewers are getting. 6 stimulus heating up with that progressive alliance between the White House, Germany, and France for potential April. April is when Macron gets reelected. This stimulus may potentially getting a new surprise with the president unveiling that new piece of legislation, the wealth tax, which was originally supposed to be used for fifth stimulus. Wow, I'll have the latest details on that all this week. 7 stimulus going to a date with May 2nd. The president of the United States' chief of staff saying the president will make a determination whether to forgive student loan debt or to extend the repayment by May 2nd. Wow. And all those incredible sums of money. It's a big day. But coming up next is a live broadcast at noontime at 11 a.m. I don't want you to miss it. And watch me in prime time for America's most watched show in prime time for financial news. It's Evenings LA. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused. I want you to stay here and stay with LA for more.